Jerry's been here, I think, since 6:30 this morning. He's been walking away, so he's probably waiting on me. He brought a dump trailer over with him. Yeah, in fact, I see him going across the field here now. Yeah, he is waiting on me. So he brought his own dump trailer with him, which I'm going to hook on now. It's going to be very, very messy because this field is everywhere's a mess now. It's got so wet. And once you disturb clay this time of year, 1st of October today, once you disturb clay, it gets very messy very, very quickly. So that other bit of land that's down below, which I call the rough field, we're going to start to clean that up. We're taking a big hump out of it that was the tractor couldn't go up on, and we're levelling that hump down onto a spot that was very low and very wet, and actually making a bit of ground out of it. It's turning out really well. So here's the dump trailer sitting here for me. Let's hook this on first. Right, we're good. That's all hooked on. Yeah, ready to rock. That'll work. Jerry's own tractor's there. Up around here, you can see how mucky it's got. I'm just going to tip up around here, around this branch. This bankment here, Jerry's taken out. Just a big old hill going across here, going straight up to the bottom of our own big hill. And good for nothing. You couldn't do anything on it, you couldn't drive on it, you couldn't get any fertilizer on it. So now he's taking that out, putting it down below, down here. And that's leaving us with a level area that we can work. Knowing where to go and where not to go, that's the kind of thing you have to pick out now at the minute. But we're alright. Not be that long moving this stuff. I'd say there's about 25 loads 30 loads and that's it, we'll get the whole thing done. So that first clip was filmed on the 1st of October. That's when we're doing the work here. It is now the 20th of October, I think. 21st maybe? Friday anyway, so maybe it is the 21st. Nearly lost track at this stage. The year is just flying by. It's unbelievable. It's hard to even still believe we're in actually winter. It's just been that weird type of a year. I hope you can hear me a bit clearer. I'm using my mic this time. I normally leave it at home. I know you guys sometimes complain to me, too much wind noise, so hopefully, stop scratching the mic, Adrian. Hopefully you can hear me a wee bit clearer. But here is the area now that Jerry walked in. Is it all complete? Well, completed up to as much as he can do. It's an absolute swamp at the minute. When you disturb clay like this and then you get the monsoon of rain that we've had a lot of rain. But to give you an idea of what we're trying to achieve here. So first of all, this bankment, you can see where the clay was across here. You can see that's where the bankment used to come up to, the top of where that clay ends. And this bankment kind of came out to about here, which nearly just went straight up to that. It left this whole area, yeah, usable. You could graze it, cattle could climb up on it and graze it, but you couldn't get any fertilizer on it, you couldn't put any slurry on it, you couldn't really do anything with it, and you couldn't actually get to it because the lower part here was that wet that you couldn't drive into it. So you could never get over to this part of the field at all. Just over to about a little bit of a hilly spot there, which would be about 20 meters from where I'm standing. And the rest of it you couldn't really get in unless the weather was exceptionally dry. Now this area here you're looking at, you can see our electric fence. Can you make that out across here? Well, we haven't moved that. That's the original electric fence that was there the whole time. So we haven't made the ground any bigger. We've just took what was here and put it down here, and that has built this area up. And hopefully with time now, and it gets to sit for a while, it will dry out and be fit to drive on it much easier. But it is terribly wet at the minute, terribly wet, and you nearly can't walk on it as it is. But I hope over the winter time it'll set, it'll get firmer, because we were well fit to drive on it when we were drawing the stuff back and forth here. So it should set. It's just going to take a little bit of time. We're not done yet. We only had enough of filling to get us down about 20 feet from the fence. So what we're hoping to do, when we're digging out behind the cottage, that bankment that's behind the cottage, we'll probably get another 10 load or more out of that. And in the springtime, or might have to wait into the summertime when it dries out more, we'll get that put along here, the whole way along here, and go right down tight to the fence, and that'll clean that whole area up and leave it that it's farmable, that we can get grass seed on it then and get the whole thing reseeded, cleaned up, and it will work much more efficiently and produce something out of it, out of basically what was nothing before. Only this area here was just covered in rushes and nothing more, and it was just really unproductive. Cattle got a bit of grazing out of it, but it was very minimal. And there's the rain just on there now as we speak, so we'll keep moving if I can get out of here. As you can see, it's just like quicksand. This farm of land and around this area, there's an awful depth of topsoil. You could dig down 5-6 feet and it's all topsoil. Like you've seen over there, I'm not sure how the camera showed it up, but I expected that to be an old rocky, channel-y old kind of a lump that was there, but it wasn't. The most of that was actually topsoil. You could probably make that out in the camera. The worst thing about that is it's not great for filling up ground because it leaves it really soft like what it is there now. Right, back out of the hedge. I was standing there. It rained for the past 20 minutes at least, and I think it's clearing a little bit now, so I might be able to show you the last bit of this. So another thing you might have noticed if you watch our videos is anytime I'm putting cattle down to this field here, I do walk them around the back, bottom of the big hill, and bring them in at a gate which is just situated over there. You might look awkward looking on the camera, and yes, it probably is a bit awkward, but the reason for that is there was a gate going out to the road here in the corner. Now when I point there, the cottage is just behind this bush, and that's the corner just in front of the cottage. There's the start of the bankment that goes in front of it. I don't want to show you too much on that because we have work done, and that's for a different episode. You have to wait on that one. But I closed that gate up about 10-15 years ago. It's only a wee tiny thing. The gate is still actually there, the steel gate, and that's the stone pier that I talked about getting fixed up. The reason I closed it up is this whole area here was all briars, but I cleaned them all up bit by bit. And when I was working in this corner, it was extremely wet. This area was soaking wet. So what I done was I opened a shuck or a drain the whole way down to the bog, let the water away, and you can see Jerry here has kind of cleaned it out again. You can see the way he caught the water here. Look at the amount of water that's running out of there. Just stone shores coming out of the hill. And look at all that. That would have originally been running down to this field, soaking it. Now this has to go further over there because there's another stone shore in there somewhere as well, and it's leaving this whole area wet. I had no pipes that day and he was just finishing off another job, and I said just go in there, give it a quick clean out, and that actually dried the whole thing up, but it left the gate closed, which we are going to reopen in the springtime. We'll have a nice gate there, and that'll give us much more easy access into this field, over the road, up into the shed. Anywhere we want to go, it'll just make it much easier to get into. So just down this section here, if you remember from our videos, there used to be a little bit fenced off here. The reason why that was fenced off was there used to be a pump house here. This used to be where the water was coming from up to the cottage that's up above. Now that little pump house had fallen down over the years, but there was a hole on the other side of it, and I had to cover it a couple of years ago because it was deadly. It was only about 3 foot wide, a liner, which was probably down about 20 feet. When I came out here first, I discovered it. Thankfully, I discovered I'd fallen into it because there was no cap on it. It was completely exposed, and if anyone had been walking across with the overgrowth that was on top of it, you'd never see it, and you would have went straight down, and God forbid it would have happened, but it didn't. Now it's all gone. There was no need now. We have mains water right outside that cottage if we ever need it, and you wouldn't need to take water from here because I can imagine it wouldn't be the most pleasant water to be drinking or using, because you can probably make that one out yourself. So that's it. That's part one of this field. There's a lot of work to be done in it. There's loads of shores as well, or drains, tiles, people all call them different things, but there's loads more of them over along that bankment that are coming through it and soaking the field, running down the field. So we're going to have to dig in pipes when it dries up, run them the whole way down to the bog itself, just to get the water off the field. But it'll all be watered. It'll make a really good job of this field when it's finished. It's just a pity we didn't start it a wee bit earlier. I would have liked to start it and got the whole thing done before we hit into October, but look, that was more my own fault. Just didn't have time to get to it, I suppose, when the weather suited. But look, we'll get it done in the springtime, and the job will be done one way or the other. So just to forward on then to the springtime when it's finished. Oh crap, it doesn't work. Guess we're going to have to haul out the winter the old-fashioned way, but we will get back to this in the springtime. We will get it all finished up, and we'll share the whole thing with you as we go along. I'm looking forward to getting it done and everything finished up and getting it into a nice bed of grass, hopefully, and dry for the first time in a long time, I'd say. Anyway folks, thanks for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Until the next one, talk to you again.